It's also very difficult to sort of keep track of everything because everything happened in the last 2 weeks during the US Championships. I was doing commentary like 6 hours a day, and obviously the preparation that goes into that as well. And then
This is
Fabi
an
was
epic
playing.
story.
So sorry if we're like missing key details in that regard.
Yeah, I think sorry, 1 second. Give me like 10 seconds.
Hey, don't check the stockfish, please. Don't.
Oh, how did you know that's what
Or
I'm
are you
checking? I have
using
a pattern of
Chat
doing it.
GPT to answer the question?
Okay, so I'll tell you after the show. But okay, so on Tuesday or on Monday night, this was, what day is it? It's wow, this was this past Tuesday. Holy shit,
Today is
that's like
Saturday.
5 days
Yeah, it's
ago.
been all very recent. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So his tweets were escalating and I got fed up. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to set the record straight. I'm going to have 6 different angles. And I streamed from my side room because it's just easier, smaller room, easier to capture the whole space. So I went and bought on, my own dime, and I didn't mind, 2 camcorders. And, I went I had a dishwasher getting installed that day. So like I pulled in all night. I didn't sleep at all, on Monday. And I went to Lowe's at like 7 a.m. I've never gone to Lowe's once in my life. I felt like such an adult. Except I'm setting up for a title two. I'm standing there while Karen and Bob are looking at refrigerators next to me, and I'm preparing for a Title Tuesday stream where a former world champion is going on a tirade against me on Twitter. This whole thing is so absurd. So I set all of that up, which is hard, right? I had another laptop filming me from the front. I had my streaming camera that I'm using right now, which is a little blurry because it's the lens is broken, but I had that from the back. I covered every angle. And I started Title Tuesday at 9:59. I started the stream. I was exhausted. I was upset, but I was I'm going to set the record straight once and for all. I'm going to make it my mission to do well in this tournament. And I did. I got 8.5 and could have gotten 9.5. I beat Duda with black. I beat Min Lee. I beat a bunch of GMs. But halfway through the stream, my chat starts going crazy in between the games, of course, because emote only. Kramnik starts tweeting. First of all, he's like, oh, it would be nice if Danya did a stream with 2 cameras. Then he says, thanks. I'm like, okay, this is going to put everything to rest once and for all. Now, he's deleted some of the worst ones, but here is a record of his tweets on that day. October 22nd at 12:22. Tuesday starts at 11. Chat is on during game again. Then, what rezob for showing it later? Now, N-O-W capitalized. Danya, show it now capitalized, or we understand it accordingly. What is he talking about? The point is that out of the corner of one of the cameras, you could see the laptop that was filming me from the front. The screen of that laptop was black. And it had never occurred to me to think that he thought that I would still try to cheat in that tournament and use a readout from that laptop to make moves. This was so absurd that I didn't even think of it. So immediately when he mentioned the laptop, I showed that, yeah, there was a laptop filming me. The screen was always black. It just had OBS on. And I thought that was the end of it. But Kramnik continued, and he's like, the point is, Scat during stream chat asked him to show that he showed from far a Nutger computer standing facing him, screen dark, pretended his computer filming him. Chat asked him showing the screen to prove. After showed refused this computer from close, didn't tell anything about this computer before some noticed it. There were 15 tweets while I'm playing Title Tuesday. And then he puts out a video, I think called that This Is Weird. Only thing that's weird is your face. I'm just kidding. It was a 9-minute video where he claims that I basically insinuates that I use the computer to cheat. And when he discovered the presence of this computer, I came up to it in order to disable, presumably, the cheating program, right? Except I had just come up to the computer to make sure that it was still filming me. But one of my other devices was my phone, which was filming part of the room. And by accident, the phone happened to capture the monitor of that computer. So I responded to that video by putting out a tweet. The only time I've ever responded to a tweet, I published on my other YouTube channel footage of my phone showing me walking up to the computer and showing that nothing was actually displayed on it. But this is the level of madness that this is descended to. And to that, he responds by saying, you pranked me. I'm taking down the YouTube video. This is a chess.com prank. You're very nasty. Your behavior resembles that of a child. I cannot engage with you in good faith.
Did you discuss this with him during the Levitov chess interview?
Yeah, because I had agreed to like have a dialogue with him. But after that stream, I texted Levitov and Ilya understood. And I said, listen, this guy is out of his mind. Um, he is. I mean, I'm sorry, but he is completely out of his mind. And apart from that, he is behaving in a manner. He is treating me better than he would treat a wild pig. And I told him that to his face. Again, maybe he should have turned his camera on. And I cannot engage with someone who is acting this maliciously, because like no amount of reason is going to ever make him stop. And like once I started the episode with Levitov, I kind of said, okay, I mean, at this point, I just want to be left the heck alone. So I relented, and Kramnik came on, and now I see that it made exactly zero difference. Sorry, that was quite a story. Did I make sense?
Yeah, no, that made perfect sense. Fabi, do you want to latch on to any of those?
The
any
only
of
thing
those
I
points?
could think was again, it was like if you just kind of step outside yourself for a second, like let's say I'm talking about Kremnik, that he thinks
Mm-hmm.
that you're cheating, and he just steps outside of it for a second and just looks from the side and thinks, is this really the way someone would cheat, a strong grandmaster, that they have a laptop in the other part of the room, but they also look to the side where the laptop would be, or sometimes they look up. Like it doesn't have any consistency. I just, I mean, again, it does feel like it got a bit personal for him, or perhaps very personal, and then he just doesn't like think about the logic of what he's saying, which at this point I'm not following the logic anymore. Uh, I'm just trying to look at it from his point of view. I just don't follow the logic anymore. And if it's personal, I just want to speak to the point you mentioned about chess.com and Kremlin, because again, I don't have any insight
Mm-hmm.
um into their relationship. All I know is that at the start they were talking and he was giving his concerns and they were listening, and at some point they they hit an impasse. That's my understanding of it. Basically, they had a disagreement and there was just no progress being made to the point that they no longer talked about it. But then it clearly bittered um, to the stage that, yeah, he views chess.com as an enemy. Now, I'll admit that chess.com can't be right about everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I would think that they underestimate the extent of cheating
I agree.
online. But I don't see them as an evil party. I've said that before. Like they can be wrong. I just, having dealt with them, but also I like felt a little bit like I didn't, because we got brought into it totally randomly on Twitter. Basically, someone said like you should get on the podcast, and then he said more or less that would chess.com allow them, as though I need any permission from
we're,
chess.com
we're part
or
of the
anyone
chess
else,
mafia, apparently.
or that
Yeah.
I even get paid, which is not the case, aside from prizes, which everyone, gets paid according to their results, including Kramnik, right? He's also taken money from chess.com for his results in tournaments, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, obviously, and I was thinking like when you don't know the foolishness behind something, then you can maybe be persuaded. But when you can like clearly see the foolishness, and in this case, obviously knowing that we have no affiliation with chess.com, aside from I think we get revenue share like sometimes $20 a month occasionally when people sign up through our affiliate link.
Right.
Ah,
Right.
gotcha.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
That's what's behind
I
this.
definitely need the couple
You
dozen
should
dollars
not
a
have
month.
said that, Fabi. You should not have
No,
said
but
that.
that's on the videos, right? I think that maybe he got an idea that we actually get any sort of like significant money from this.
Well,
Obviously,
to be honest,
yeah, I
that's
mean, Christian,
okay.
you know
Just
better.
to, yes, just to kind of
Hmm.
be very frank and open about it, we used to sometimes have this little chess.com logo on some of our podcasts. That's
Ah,
mostly because they were occasionally helping with the editing. Right now, we have our own team, so we basically kind of, separated ourselves from their help. But I thought it was just fair whenever they help with the editing and putting together some of our episodes that we just display that little logo on some of our videos. So that's the extent of it. We never actually received,
But
at
we don't
least
have to
to
defend
my
ourselves.
knowledge,
I mean, even if we
any
even if
money
we
from
yeah.
them.
Like, why is this suddenly accepted? Like, again, this is like buying the premise that it's some sort of evil. Like, even the idea that this is some sort of evil conglomerate is just Like what?
No,
And this is it doesn't mean they act perfectly or even well. Like it's like there's quite a jump from one to the other, right?
but just like since I mean we do know them, we do know the people
Yeah.
behind, like they can easily be wrong uh
Hmm.
about any particular thing. But there's a big difference between being wrong and being either malicious or evil. Like that's definitely a stretch. And you can also accuse them of being a monopoly. And actually like you would have a very legitimate case perhaps in that sense. But there's still a difference between being a monopoly and being a monopoly that is evil or nefarious. Those are different things entirely. But then I was also like, okay, I mean, if you're going to say that we aren't willing to have you on or we're not allowed to, which is even more absurd. When we already had you on and we were the first to have you on to discuss these things
For
on
like
like
2 hours.
English language platforms. Uh, and then we also got shit for having you on, right? And I'm like, okay, damned if you do. Um, and and I think we gave him a completely like open platform basically to just say whatever he wanted for 2 hours, which I don't regret that at all. I mean,
I
uh,
think that's fine. I mean,
no, I mean,
it
like
should be
he
an
spoke his mind. We did
Totally.
not
open field.
endorse or deny that, you know, we were, it wasn't like a debate or anything, but it also wasn't an endorsement. Um, but yeah, it obviously like what you're saying is not fair if you're saying that we're like part of this. Okay, we talked about the chess mafia.
Now,
Yeah.
to
And
build
like
up
we're
on,
all part of it. Yeah,
yes.
you are part of it. Hikaru, I'm like we're completely separate entities, all of us.
Hmm.
And anyway, that was just my thing about chess.com and Kramnik. Like, I'm sure he has his
Yeah.
reasons why he's upset, but again,
Hmm.
they don't follow logic, I think.
Should we
They
stay
they
on
do
this
seem to
topic
be.
of incentives and alignment
Well, I
and
have one
prize
thought on that,
money
but
and
but your call.
No,
go
go
ahead, and
ahead, please.
I'll continue after.
I can understand like if you want to like avenge chess.com, I like the Russian community thinks of me like firmly as like the face of chess.com. I don't know. This is not like an official title. Like in Danny's the CC chief chess officer. And to me, like I don't think of this in these grand terms. Like I'm a commentator. And that skill is separate from chess.com. And like excuse me, but like I started my chess career independently and my streaming career independently. And I am very grateful for the opportunities chess.com has given me. I have a great relationship with them. And I love the fact and deeply privileged that I can further the noble cause of spreading chess to the masses with the aid of chess.com and like the things they did in Paris. You know, they are, I think, on the forefront of a lot of very positive trends. However, it's like yesterday I came on Levitov and I said, well, in regards to like online cheating, I think they do need to get their heads out of their asses a little bit and be a little bit more receptive to dissenting takes. In the chat was like, whoa, Naroditsky's criticizing chess.com based. It's like, do they think that Danny is holding a knife to my throat and like I can't say the word Lichess on a coverage? Like this myth has really, I think, metastasized to like the grassroots, especially like Eastern European, you know, like the conspiratorial thinking, which is rife to begin with. So it's not a crowd that you really need to convince. Um, but I think that the incentive would make sense from like a vengeance point of view. What doesn't really make sense to me, and only makes sense by like ascribing, you know, deep moral bankruptcy and cruelty to someone, is I told Kramnik, I said, listen, I told Levitov or Kramnik, and he was on the call yesterday. I said, you know, I can understand some of the qualms that he has. I can look past the delusion that he is spreading. I can forgive him for the slander and making it personal. And we will never agree on the chronology of events, but I'm willing to shake hands. I said that to him. I'm willing to shake hands and you know, and work on a new, more wholesome reality. If you leave me alone, all I ask is that you stop putting out the videos and tweets. And that's basically my only demand. Like he doesn't even have to stop asking questions. Like I said, I am happy to answer your questions on a podcast. Like I would be happy to do a second episode, provided that you show remorse for what you did, maybe. But the only serious non-negotiable demand, stop putting out the hate and the slander. And his response to that 5 minutes later was another tweet and another crazy unhinged video this morning. And I said that you're causing me at this point physical harm because, you know, my health has been affected by this, my emotional health
Yeah,
and my physical health. Like I can't sleep, you know,
100%.
like
Yeah.
I'm feeling the effect of this. my blitz rating dropped, which is not the most important thing. I'm getting some of it back. But, the people saying that he's not reaching anybody and he's just a man shouting into the distance, this isn't like Billy Bob on the street corner, preaching. This is a person with influence and reach who is being propagated by title players. And I'm not blaming them for like buying his bullshit. It's like, I understand his reach is wider than people realize that it is. And it's about principle for me. Like I didn't win Title Tuesdays because I have decided to like put my morals above, a desire to like make some cash. And somehow I'm the one paying the price for this, which is not fair. And for me, it's principle. Like I did not cheat. There's one truth, and I want to prove myself because I don't want a single person like thinking something that's untrue. And if that makes sense.
Yes, and I think you touched upon a very important topic, and that is the topic of incentives. And this is generally what I look at first whenever I'm trying to gauge whether somebody has indeed cheated or not. The incentive is obviously one of the main incentives that a lot of people abide by is money. And I see a lot of people that have won a lot of money in Title Tuesdays throughout the years in online chess, because there's public lists of this type of people. And a lot of them were not attacked, a lot of them with much lower rating than you are. Your name is not at the top of the list in regards to how much money you've made throughout the years from Title Tuesdays. I think you were sitting at, I don't know, maybe you can correct me. I think you perhaps made $3,000.
I mean, I was interested in this. So Christian, I did get the numbers up.
Yes.
Oh, I have some too. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Like in terms of
numbers,
earnings,
the exact numbers.
On chess.com, you've earned $101,275.22.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, yeah. Okay. So I guess it's not a round number.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, but it's also Bullet Champ. So do I cheat in Hyper Bullet and Bullet? Because that's also another reason I thought I was safe from this madness is like I'm good at 30-second chess, but apparently that's like not an argument at all. I don't know.
No, of course. I mean, like the thing is, I don't think that. I mean, it's of course good money. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that this is unusual to win for 2650, more or less, Grandmaster over. Well, this is going back to 2014,
like
but
years, yeah,
I think there was like
years.
almost no money until 2020 to 20. So it's like 5 years more or less, right? I don't think that's like an unusual amount of money. I mean, yeah, if you look at some other players, which I won't say any names because obviously we're not trying to turn this into, who is cheating based on how much money they won, but it's definitely not among the more unusual numbers of money earned from tournaments, right? And so yeah, I just out of interest brought this up. Of course, it's not evidence that just because someone won money that they're cheating, but like for me, it has been one of the metrics that I'm like, okay, I will pay attention more to someone if they've won, like,
it's a red flag, which means you can investigate someone more carefully. It doesn't mean they're cheating and you're saying like that. I agree with Kremnik. You can say this guy's red flags. He needs to be investigated more carefully. He needs to play from a public setting for X number of weeks because of this objective metric, right?
That's
like
one of the biggest incentives
stages
to cheat, basically.
Sorry.
I think that's one of the biggest incentives to cheat in general. Just like being able to make a living, more or less.
Yeah, oh no, of course. It's definitely, I mean, it's pretty much the main incentive, right? At least I think that people are incentivized just by not wanting to lose, right? There's that normal human emotion that hates losing in anything, which varies from person to person. Some can handle it better, some can handle it worse. But the second incentive would of course be money. And well, anyway, all of this is public information of who has earned what. In terms of like your bullet performances, I mean, okay, obviously you're like top 5 in the world in bullet. I don't really know anything about 30-second chess. It doesn't have much interest in my view. But like in terms of 1 minute, I mean, I played the Bullet Championship. I obviously can't compete for the top places. And while I got knocked out early, you were getting to either semifinals or playing against guys like Magnus, Hikaru, like Alireza, the best of the best, right? So, I mean, obviously your skill in bullet is not up for question at all. And in bullet, of course you can cheat in Bullet, but you can't really cheat in Bullet with cameras on you. I think that's like, if you cheat in Bullet, it would have to be with an app that shows you the moves during the game, right? So with screen sharing and cameras, it's like pretty much an impossibility, at least from my understanding of Bullet.
Right. And if someone figures it out, I take my hat off. Like, all right, you deserve it. If you went to such lengths to like contact the FBI, okay, like that level we probably can't stop. But like we're trying to implement common sense measures, and our focus is on money tournaments. Like this is really the most vulnerable aspect of chess cheating. This is where it's most rampant. If like, yeah, so but when I tell people like, well, what would my incentives be? People, and this is one of the issues, Christian, if we can stay on this topic, but they're like, well, that's what a cheater would say. Or like, if I'm too vehement in denying the claims, like, why are you getting so worked up? That tells us that this is affecting you personally, so you must have been cheating. If I ignore, why are you ignoring this? You're trying to sweep this under the rug. So no matter what you do, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. And it's just like a nasty situation where there will be a group of people who think your behavior is not someone who would be innocent in your shoes would behave like, if that makes sense. Sorry, that was badly phrased.
No, that makes
No,
perfect
I
sense.
agree.
And I think the incentive not to cheat for you massively outweigh the incentives to cheat, based on how much money you made, based on public information, but also based on all the other hats that you're wearing within the chess world. That you don't need to cheat to be a good commentator, or if
But
that makes
I don't
any
think that
sense.
we need to turn it into like you justifying yourself, because I don't really think that anything has been presented in which I understand if you feel like you
No,
want to
I
justify
agree.
yourself.